All right, so if you're seeing this, first of all, I want to thank you for being a Paytience VIP member. This is what you could call version 1.5 of the Paytience kit from our indicator suite. Now, we have added a brand new feature, actually a couple new features to this. We're going to turn off the momentum oscillator just to clean up the chart a little bit. We are also going to turn off the take profit and stop loss entries, even though you can see a beautiful entry right here, smash through all three take profits. Even if you got in here, you're also deep into profit as well. So let's turn those off for right now. I actually prefer to trade with those off because they can be a little bit too misleading in the fact that you might want to jump at those levels and not use confluence, which means using certain things in conjunction with other things. For example, if Paytience prints a trade entry, you got to also look if we're near the top of the band. You got to also look at the other support levels. You got to also look at the volume and et cetera, et cetera. Now, what we have added to the Paytience kit is if you go to the settings wheel, you will have the instant SR, so instant support resistance. Now, this has some special math behind it that actually makes it very effective. You can actually set the length as well. The default is 300 with a 10 count and use the wick or the body for this. This is a very interesting setting as well. You can make it use the wick or the body. Now, let's take a look at what this actually does. So you will see these lines when you turn the new Paytience kit on. You will see these lines that are generated right here. So right here upon this candle and that wick, you actually got one of these lines generated. So we're on the 5-minute chart. This works best on the 5-minute chart, but it can also work on higher time frames as well. And the top line, so in this case the orange line, and by the way, you can actually customize those settings. So let's change it to the Paytience settings right here. Let's use yellow as the top and purple as the bottom line, and then you will see that change if we actually refresh our chart here. So now that the colors are back, we can actually see that this yellow line represents a short. Okay, so for example, when this generated, you would have shorted, and look where you would have ended up, right? Extremely good entry, right? Especially if you held that out. And obviously this is holding the 5-minute trade open for overnight, right? This one was an overnight trade that you would have printed on, especially, you know, if you got in right when that started. Now, if you waited to see a confirmation of the Paytience band right here, right? We hit the top, which means we're coming back down. You also would have made even more profit because you would have got a better entry there. Now we can see another long line was generated here. This purple line at the bottom, same type of thing. This would be your entry if you listen to the line. If you wanted to look for confluence and wait for a bigger test of the bottom of the band, you would have got a better entry. So this really works in conjunction with the Paytience bands. You have to be using this stuff in conjunction, right? Here's another long opportunity, or sorry, a short opportunity that did not print a support and resistance line, okay? Or these are based on exhaustion, by the way. So we can call these exhaustion lines. Okay, that is what these are called in Paytience Kit version 1.5. Here you could have got an amazing short entry, right? And these would be nerve-wracking. Like you'd be in profit, almost back to break even, then in profit, then back to break even. And then like right here, you could have canceled the trade, but holding that out resulted in a very nice 5-minute trade. And that's about a couple hours, right? That you have to hold that, or actually like, yeah, quite a few hours that you would hold that one open. Here's an amazing long as well. So right here, touch of the bottom band plus an actual exhaustion line. That's going to be a very good entry. And boom, we shot right up right away, and then actually came back down close to entry and shot back right up, and then came below and shot double the height. And you can look at some of these entries are absolutely amazing. Here you would have got wrecked on the way down, right? And that is just part of the game. And you should be very weary. And this is where you need to really be watching the charts with 5 minute to, you know, not let this wreck you. Okay. And one of the things that happened recently on the chart, if we look recently, you will see a cascading of these all the way down, right? So each one of these long signals, if you didn't quickly exit the trade, right, each one of them still did print, right? You cannot get that wrong. Like if you entered here and you held the trade out, at one point you were in decent profit, and that's where you need to be setting your take profit levels. You need to. If you're scalping on the 5 minute, you're aiming for 3 to 5 to 10%. That's what you're going for. So your first take profit should absolutely be set somewhere there. So from entry here, you know, that's about 0.61 on just spot, right? A 0.61 move on spot. So I'm assuming that would have been more like, you know, 2 or 3 or 4% if you're using leverage. But these type of cascading price action you need to watch out for. And not get involved in scalping, right? This is not a scalping environment. This whole big cascade down, now we're actually touching below 40K. And that's one thing I do notice with this new feature is that prices tend to come back up and make these lines profitable. For example, here, prices tend to come back up and make that line profitable, right? Here, price went down, but it did come up twice for you to allow you to close that for break even and de-risk, or actually get a little bit of profit there. So price does tend to come back up to these, but this is a very nice feature. You can change the colors as well. You can click wait for confirmation candle as well. That's going to do just that. It's going to wait for the confirmation candle before actually placing the line. So if you're using wick, for example, right here, this triggered off the wick, right? Whereas if you were using the confirmation candle, it would have waited for a confirmation candle. So it would have actually waited until up here. And you did get the little red triangle. You know, don't place trades just based off the red triangles. And then some other things we have added is full on color customization. You can customize other certain things on here, but that is the gist of it. And we do have some other updates as well. One of these is that you can now change the color scheme of your momentum oscillator, so you guys can toy around and make some very cool custom charts. But we like to rock with the purple and yellow Paytience colors. So we are working very hard on other updates as well, but this was just a short video to show you this new feature. Also, as I just said, you can use this with the 1 hour. You can use it with a bunch of other different time frames. As you can see right here, 1 hour, this could have printed a little bit for you. If we scroll back, we've got a nice short right there. This is pretty drastic movement on Bitcoin here. This was a nice short as well. So anywhere up here, you would have been deep in profit. Obviously, 1 hour, you're holding for way longer as well. This was a pretty bad one right here. However, you can see that before that, we were getting squeezed like crazy at the start of December. So you got to watch out for the crazy runs. This is not for those crazy runs, right? And going to the very, very high time frames, like 12 hour, it's going to be working a little bit differently with some of these, right? So this was decent. This was a decent entry right there, because now you're getting that. And hopefully it goes and makes this line profitable right there. Okay, so it's all up to you. Make sure you're doing the confluence. Thank you once again for being part of this, and goodbye.